We are officially back in the saddle.
Yes, we are. So maybe some teething issues, but it all feels a little bit uncomfortable again, which is maybe a good start for the topic on clothes, actually.
I'd also like to add that this is the fourth top I've had on this morning, knowing that we were going to record this session. And when I saw your outfits, I was like, I'm changing. It matters.
Welcome to Work is Weird Now podcast. Today we have with us Julietta Dexter. She is founder and CEO of The Communication Store, which is a brand development and communications partner to the fashion, wellness, beauty, and lifestyle sectors. She's also chair of SmartWorks charity, which helps unemployed women get the coaching, clothing, and confidence they need to secure employment. And she is here to talk to us about a very interesting topic, one that's been very near and dear to the hearts of me and Dan, which is, do work clothes still matter? Welcome, Julietta. Great to have you here.
Thanks, Alice. Thank you very much for having me, and super happy to be here to talk about clothes.
It's been an interesting start to the year for me because I'm actually looking at going into a office-based role for a couple of days a week for the first time in years. And of course, it's made me look at my wardrobe and say, do I actually have the right clothes to take me into those contexts? Because at the moment, most of my work is limited to being at home or being in meetings where I can usually recycle the same business casual outfit. So this is a quite relevant topic to my current perspective as well. So does clothing still matter? We all know that after the pandemic, everything became a lot more casual. It's probably been trending that way in general. And is it still an important aspect of work life in your mind?
Yes, and yes. And certainly, my fundamental belief is that, like fashion, everything is cyclical. Everything is constantly moving and evolving. And actually, I was with the CEO of a big British retail brand recently who said that people are buying fewer pieces, people are buying better pieces, and that tailoring jackets for women with a sharp shoulder sales are going up. So
Interesting.
I love a sharp shoulder. I mean, sharp shoulders are a good entry point to talk maybe more about the idea of confidence, right? Because I know that if I wear a sharp shoulder, I feel a lot more confident in the room. It's something about the presence or the posture that a sharp shoulder provides. Why are clothes so important to confidence in the workplace?
How you show up, to use today's language, is so important. And as much as we may feel that it's incorrect, the way that humans are built, first impressions count. First impressions count. They just do. Whether that's right or wrong is perhaps not a conversation for today. But I think where we've got to, particularly at SmartWorks, is this point of confidence, Alice. Historically, certainly somebody of my vintage may have dressed for others or for a situation. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but certainly where we're moving at SmartWorks is dressing for yourself and dressing for your own confidence, so that whatever situation you're finding yourself in, be it starting your job 2 days a week in an office place that you haven't been in for a long time, or you're going for a job interview, or you're going anywhere, frankly, how do you want to represent yourself and give yourself the greatest confidence to perform to your greatest potential?
I mean, that's really interesting because I think, like you, I would have thought I have to dress to match the energy of the company that I'm stepping into. But actually, you're saying that confidence comes from feeling most like yourself in those moments.
I think that's right, and I think that it's funny. There's a very real reality in work when you join a company, particularly when you're much younger. You kind of go for the brand. I don't know, you're going for a job at Sainsbury's, or you're going for a job at McKinsey, or you're going for a job at Google, wherever you want. And as a younger person, I think that there is part of you that thinks, I have to fit in. I have to kind of look like what you look like when you work at Google, for want of a better example. And then I think you go through again this rhythmic, this sort of cyclical process of, is that really who I am? Do I really Is this really what I stand for? Is this, or am I just kind of chameleonizing myself? There's another thing that I want to bring into the equation right now, outside of dressing for yourself and feeling your best, is comfort.
Mm.
Because bottom line, when you are comfortable in your clothes and in yourself, you perform better.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the first role that I got in London, and I'd moved down from the north, and all of my roles before then had kind of been like construction. So there was on site, so jeans were fine. You know, like, you couldn't be rocking onto a construction site in like a pinstripe suit or anything like that. It wouldn't be right. But then when I moved to London, and there was definitely this gear change of what that felt like, and then the confidence to carry you through. But the company that I worked for, they had this. It was a construction company as well. But their theme was dress for your day. And that felt really powerful because the choice was on the employee. But I did soon realise that there was, between the teams, that meant something different, and it was almost identity. So I was in marketing, and I remember so clearly this conversation with somebody in BD, and she just said, look, you marketers can wear your leather skirts and your trainers, and it's all absolutely fine because that's like the identity of your team. She's like, I'm in BD. I couldn't do that. I couldn't not turn up in heels. And it's so interesting, isn't it, even for the functions within a business and that identity that comes with it. And I look back now, I even started wearing heels there, and I'm like, is that because I was promoted? And I think now I don't think I could trot around an office in heels. The thought fills me with dread.
Makes me think so much, Dan, of air hostesses. I don't know if you've noticed if you fly recently, but air hostesses are wearing flat, comfortable, really
Yeah.
practical shoes to do the job. And you just kind of think of the sort of cultural symbolism of, historically an air hostess would wear high heels. Now,
Yeah.
you're flying, you're at altitude, there's pressure. We're told that we should wear DVT socks to make sure the blood flow through the body. And these people are flying all the time, and they're asked to wear high heels. I mean, it's just
Mm.
nonsensical, right? And we know what
Mm.
that's all about. So again, I think that um, it's really important, I think, in the world of today, and culture and society changes so much all the time. But I feel dress for yourself and how you feel good. Be meeting appropriate or job appropriate. I actually was in a job recently where we were basically on a building site, and a new employee turned up with 6-inch heels, and she really just didn't fit the part. Now, I'm sure she thought that she looked great, but for the job at hand, what you actually have to do, how many times have you seen a hairstylist wearing 6-inch heels all day?
Mm.
So there is a sort of practicality to clothes to me. I'm all about form and function. Look good aesthetically, and make sure that your clothes are right for what you have to do. Um, and the piece about comfort to me is really important. And the holy grail there is to find things that are beautiful, but they're also comfortable and also stand the test of time.
Mm.
Is there more to that word appropriate, right? So obviously there's a practicality element to the idea of dressing appropriately, but I think particularly for women, there is another question around what's appropriate in the workforce or workplace, and who gets to arbitrate that, right? So how do you advise the women that you're supporting with SmartWorks, or more broadly, about how we make decisions around what's appropriate attire within any workplace that we might be entering?
Well, I mean, who am I to judge or to
Mm,
make rules and regulations based on what we've just said? Do what makes you feel comfortable.
yeah.
However, I think that there is again this practicality. Let's just say at SmartWorks we have a client who is going for a job as a teacher's assistant in a primary school. That may mean bending down, popping toys back into boxes, kneeling down with children. We would think quite carefully of
Mm,
making sure that maybe something like a dress might be easier rather than bending down and your shirt coming out of the back of your trousers and so on and so forth. Um, Away from SmartWorks, when I was running the communication store, I would tell girls to make sure that their cleavage wasn't showing in a meeting with 10 men. In the same way, I remember very clearly saying to a guy who I was working with that his man spread was just not okay in
Mm.
a meeting. Because in my opinion, your clothes and how you put yourself together really also maybe express your values
Mm.
or the emotion or the objective that you bring to that meeting.
Right.
It's the same as body language, Alice. If somebody crosses their arms like this, they didn't the clothes don't even have to be there. If
Mm.
you go to a room like this, it says a great deal if you've got your arms crossed. So again, appropriateness to me is, who is the audience? What am I
Mhm.
trying to get across? How do I want to present myself? And actually, there's something that I really love. It's like, to a degree, emperor's new clothes, yes or no, but you can almost manifest yourself into a role if you believe that you look like it.
Mm.
Uh, I've seen many, many people public speaking and, oh God, this isn't right. I don't look right. I'm not going to be able to perform. I'm not going to be able to deliver, etc. Whereas actually I think, okay, well, dress like a global speaker, dress like you're going to Davos and just like up your game a bit. And I think it sometimes works.
Mm. So can you take us through the work that SmartWorks does and how you work with women to decide on which clothes they want to wear and how they respond to that kind of intervention as well?
So at SmartWorks, we, as you said, Alice, we help our clients to prepare for job interview. So women who come to us are referred to us and they have a job interview. And there are some pretty terrible data points around the fact that our clients, on average, are going for about 40 applications before they get an interview. And this is very much hindered by AI in recruitment and HR processes, etc. Last year, we helped 10,000 women.
Wow.
67% of those women, of those clients, got the job after seeing us, but quickly after seeing us. And we do two things. We dress our clients for their interview and we give them coaching for their interview. We have centres all over the country as well as a virtual service from Edinburgh to Croydon. And we are powered by volunteers. So we have about 700 volunteers across the country, 6 boards of trustees, and about 80 staff to run this nationwide operation. A woman will call us and say, "I've got a job interview." She'll come and see us, and we'll have what we describe as a SmartWorks cup of tea and a biscuit. Very often, our clients have potentially disability. There are single parents. Some of our clients are survivors of domestic abuse. They may have been in the prison, and so on and so forth. So there's a level of just being a little bit comfortable. And very often our clients say to us, nobody has taken care of me before,
Mm.
which is a very, very simple yet fundamentally powerful insight. Well, then just talk about what the job is. I'm going for a job as a teacher's assistant or as a carer or as a receptionist or whatever the job is. And we talk about what she might like to wear. And very often a client will say, "I hate my arms. I don't want to
Mm.
show my arms," or "I never wear skirts." And so there's this balance between making our client feel very safe and helping her with clothes that she knows and feels comfortable in, but also at the same time just pushing a little bit when there is the safety of the client feeling a little bit braver. Once
Mm.
she's given us that information, the 2 volunteers who are looking after her will go into the showroom and pick a rail of clothing. And as I said, there'll be a few basics. There'll be maybe a couple of things that are a little bit braver just to see whether maybe she's never seen herself in a blazer before. And then she'll come into the showroom, have a look at the clothes, and there's a very, very clear moment where you can see the client's reaction. Like immediately, it's like, oh, I would never wear that. Like, oh, no way. And you just read your client. And then with comfort and safety and calm, she might go into the changing room and start trying on clothes. And then there's this moment that we call the SmartWorks magic moment, where at a certain point she'll come out from the changing room and her shoulders drop back and her head lifts and she's like, oh, is this
This
me?
is it.
Is it?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen myself like this before. And then I have seen clients go totally wild and say, get me a scarlet red dress right now. And then we will put our client a complete look together for her. Handbag, umbrella, jewelry, tights, whatever is needed, so she can look at herself in the mirror and think, I don't have to worry about what I'm going to wear. This is what I'm going to wear. We pop everything into a bag for her, and then she will go through to another coach, to another volunteer, who will give her interview coaching. And that is as bespoke as we can make it. There was a client recently who said, I just can't open that door. I just can't knock on the door and open it. So the coach just spent an hour with her practicing walking through that door. Other times people have had interviews where something has gone wrong. They want to talk about that. So we try to make that coaching as bespoke as possible. The client then leaves us, goes to the interview. As I said earlier, 67% get the job. And then they call us straight away and they said, I got the job. And then they come back to us for what we describe as a second dressing. So obviously we keep a full record of what clothes our client got the job interview in. And then we will put 5 more pieces of clothing together for her to create what I would describe as a basic capsule wardrobe. So certainly until the first paycheck, she has some clothes to wear, be it for, this type of Zoom online work or physically in the workplace. And sometimes the client will say, look, I have a few things, but I would never have a dress for the Christmas party. Or, if I had to go to a very smart meeting that I had to wear something for, I don't have that. So we listen carefully to the client. The clients that do not get the job, we then try really hard to help them in other ways, just in terms of, I don't know, CV coaching or whatever. Or we will also refer clients to other charities or organizations who can help in different ways. One of the things, Alice, that's really, really key at SmartWorks is its simplicity. There are other charities that look after brilliantly grooming products, personal care products, etc. And, our clients are all very, very diverse. I think in 2024, our client range was 16 to 68 of women for jobs. 57% of our clients are of ethnic minority, 16% are disabled. So what we focus on is the clothes, and everything else around that is, and of course the coaching is an added plus.
Where do the clothes come from?
So our clothes come from retailers, department stores, in some cases, generous designers, brands that may have overstock, and they are happy to donate those clothes to us. We also have exceptionally generous donations from individuals. And we use our clothes in 2 ways. So part of our clothes, the majority of our clothes, go to our clients. The other part of our clothing we use for VIP pop-up, very special, sometimes secret sales, actually, whereby we sell clothes that are not appropriate to dress our clients in. Very often that could be I don't know, evening wear. We had the most amazing pop-up shop in Covent Garden recently, in the autumn last year, and I was volunteering in the shop that day, and there was a wedding dress, and I was like, oh gosh, how generous of somebody to give us such a beautiful wedding dress. I wasn't quite sure if it would sell, but I went out to get myself something for lunch and got back, and it was gone by the afternoon.
Wow.
So those are things that we can sell. We have a very, very successful sale at Somerset House in the penultimate. It's normally the 21st of November that we partner with the Times newspaper on. So we sell tickets and we take numerous rooms in Somerset House. And we sell clothing, which, in that pre-Christmas moment is fantastic. And people, they're either pre-loved things. I've seen people walk off with a Givenchy jacket very, very happily at a fraction of the price, or with all sorts of wonderful Christmas gifts. And of course, those sales and pop-ups are happening all over the country, close to all of our centres.
Yeah. I just wanted to come back to the point that you were talking about, the age range of people that you do work with. And I was doing, just as I do for all of our recordings, just seeing what latest articles around there around clothing, etc. And there was a lot around Gen Z. So we saw like this pandemic shift, and then people were rocking into work. There's articles on Vogue and everything around people, dressing as in their own comfort, wearing what they wanted to go to work. But there's an article from 9 months ago that said Gen Zs are very quickly adopting, and it was titled boring, but they were stripping back their, quirkiness and things like that to fit into the normal office archetype almost, because they had this fear of being laid off. And it struck me how quick, in a short space of time, how it's changed, that people were turning up to work in whatever they wanted, but now there's this fear of losing their roles. They were dressing to almost fit back in again, and that was that younger generation. Do you have any kind of take on that yourself?
I think it goes back to the sharp tailored shoulder, doesn't it, in a way? And as I said, Dan, I genuinely believe that nothing stays the same and things are moving all the time. I think that the point that you're making is a very interesting one insofar as what actually the employment market is like right now. And I think that there is enormous fear. And at the same time, I think that the moment it seems to me that people don't have one job, they have four. And the likelihood of having that stability of a long-term job where you've got your health insurance and your pension, and that you're not frightened that tomorrow you're going to lose it, is a growing fear, I think. I wouldn't say that is age specific. I think that's across the board. And, one thing that we talk about a lot at SmartWorks is to not be age discriminatory. One of the things that I feel strongly in all of the discriminations that exist and regrettably are alive and well is that as a woman, particularly, when you're younger, you're too young and people don't take you seriously. Then they start worrying that you might have a baby, which might be a problem. Then you've kind of lost some time because you've been on family leave to look after your child. Then you come back, and before you know it, you have menopausal issues, which then start to be problematic. And then historically, 55 plus, as a woman, you're kind of scrap heap material. That is no longer the case. And if you look at our data, Dan, our clients are tracking 68, 69, 70, even older than that. And I feel very strongly that whatever age you are, it's just a number. It's just a number, and it has to be just a number. But to your point, I think women of all ages are frightened of losing their jobs because of the things that I've just mentioned. I regret that I believe that maybe a woman may lose her job before a man.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that instantly impacts confidence, right? Women carry that in, and that diminishes confidence instantly, right?
Exactly right. And, to a degree, to speak personally about myself, I'm 56 years old and I keep on telling everybody around me, I'm just at the beginning of my career. And it's funny because younger women say, "Oh, are you still working? Are you still working?" It's like, yes. And actually, if you think about it, from a health point of view, statistics show that women last much longer than men, right?
Mhm.
So if we are not working and contributing to the economy, we're going to be an enormous drag on
Mhm.
on the social system and on the economy. So my view is that 56 is probably the new 46 or
Yeah.
45 and on,
It makes
and
my
It-
blood boil that people say that to you. It's like I've got a 4 and a 2-year-old, and that's not that long ago. And people said to me on both pregnancies, don't make promises you can't keep about coming back to work. You won't come back. And it pisses me off. I'm sorry. Like, the first part of the year and I'm ranting already, but I can't believe that people are saying that to you about, are you still working? Like, I'm sure like you love what you do and you've got so much to give. Like, why would anyone even question that? And it
There's
makes me
also
rage.
there's also loads of statistics around the fact that women live longer because they have purpose and because they work, right? So there's this, we are healthier and better for the work that we do as we age. I think just a couple of things I wanted to return to is first of all, I think there's a really important point here around the way that employment is changing and the job market is changing, and the fact that we are ultimately all going to be doing more kind of freelance contract fractional work because of just the nature of the job market.
Mhm.
And actually, that probably requires that we have a stronger sense of our own personal brand and value in general. And that does have an implication on clothes, right? So I think there's maybe even more of a mandate for dressing to align with your own values and in a way that makes you feel like yourself than there ever has been, because everything is going to be an expression of the value that we bring to the market. I mean, is that something that you're seeing? I mean, obviously you're working with women who are, I assume, potentially going into more permanent employment. Is that always the case? Or are you also working with people who are looking for part-time contract type work?
it completely depends.
Okay.
It completely depends. But I think that because of AI and other political, economic, environmental forces, I think that we have to question what is the right path. Maybe even as
Hmm.
mothers, what would we advise, Dan, your children to do in terms of their employment journeys? And it's funny because one of the things that I'm doing at the moment is building a business with my 2 daughters and my niece, because I feel that one of the greatest skills that one needs in today's world is adaptability. You
Yeah.
cannot hang on to what was before and think that you're going to a job that's 9 to 5, that everything's going to be just so. And I'm trivializing and making light of how difficult life was also in the past. But these young women, who obviously are my flesh and blood, in discussion with them and in trying to build a business together, they tell me one thing: I want a business that I can 100% believe in, that I can give my entire life to, because I really believe in what the company's doing and I believe in the people that are running it.
Mm.
And I want to work doing that for the rest of my life. So there is already, Alice, I think, fear of this sort of insecurity of where's the next paycheck going to come from. Like,
Mm.
Hmm.
that is married to what really matters to me. What is my purpose? And
Yeah.
I certainly, having employed a lot of people over the time, have always felt that people want to work with a company, with people that they believe in, that they trust, that are going to be honest, transparent, tell them the good news as well as the bad. And it's funny because in my career, I've always tried to express and behave a set of values. I've always tried to say to people, if you're going to go out into the world of or anything, university, do whatever you want, even in a relationship, it's like, what are your values? And my values were passion, care, strength, and wisdom. And I would interview somebody and I would be like, am I being passionate? Am I being caring? Am I being strong? Am I being wise? I always say to people, make sure that anything you say or do or write, you'd be happy to show your child or your grandmother and you'd feel good about it. So those are just my personal values. And consequentially, to answer your question more directly, I've kind of always tried to dress a bit like that.
Yeah. What does a wise person dress like? What does a passionate person dress like? Those are the questions you start to ask yourself, right?
Exactly. So, if you want to go into work and be super diligent and get your head down and not be noticed, there's a way to dress to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Quietly go along.
Yeah. I want to also talk about how clothing and inequality, or the perception of inequality, are linked, because I think we've all worked in quite diverse workplaces before, and there is an aspect of being able to tell who has the money and who doesn't in the workplace, right? Because the brands are more expensive, or because the style is reflecting a different universe of influences than other people. And where do you think is the opportunity, or what is possible with fashion in order to level that playing field a little bit in your mind?
Well, sort of back to smart works, what I believe fundamentally is that we work with high quality clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm dressing a client, I want to make sure that I would dress anyone and everyone in those clothes. So I genuinely believe that our clients leave us with clothing that we would, anyone of any social demographic would be happy to wear. I regret, Alice, that the truth of the matter is that inequalities exist. As I said, they are alive and well, and that is something that we consider very, very carefully. I suppose that, again, my answer to you, perhaps, I hope it's not a cop-out, but dress in what you feel good in. And frankly, what you feel good in is probably what you can afford as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing worse than putting something on or buying something that is not in your financial ability to buy and think that it's going to work. That to me is, and there are so many other things that you can do, right? Brush your hair, look neat, make sure that your shirt is tucked in. All of those things, I think, do help and do not require, money.
Yeah. If you were advising people to build a kind of basic capsule wardrobe with a certain amount of money, or the restriction on the amount of money they can spend, are there certain pieces that you would say are the best investment of, maybe this is too specific, sorry, this is kind of a little bit selfishly motivated because I'm genuinely curious, but what are those things that you would suggest would be the best use of money in order to ensure that you get the most wear out of them, but also that you continually are able to produce that feeling of confidence in the workplace?
I can be as specific as you like.
Great.
We have a very, very important partnership with Uniqlo. And you might be surprised that I will say that I think that the most important part of your wardrobe is a proper vest. And the reason why I say that is because in winter, people are struggling to heat their homes and stay warm. And actually, you cannot function. You cannot function to your best if you are cold.
Yeah.
And if you're then worried about heating your home, on top of all of that, it's even worse. And I don't know if you know the heat protect ranges, etc. at Uniqlo, but a vest will change your body temperature.
Literally wearing one as we speak. Is it the cashmere blend one?
Here it is. That will raise your body temperature potentially by 2 degrees.
Hmm.
So my view is, and if you hand wash a vest, you can keep a vest for a very, very long time. So that is my sort of absolute basic, is get yourself a decent vest.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think that my view is to have your basics. And what I mean by that is, I don't know, a pair of grey trousers or a pair of jeans, smart jeans, or a pair, a proper jersey to keep you warm, a white shirt or a cream shirt. That is going to see you through a whole bunch of stuff. And
Mm.
then, as you can see today, I think that just accents of color or a scarf or some accessory. I have a client actually who wears the most beautiful jewelry, tribal jewelry. It's absolutely gorgeous, African jewelry she wears. And it just stands out, particularly when you only see somebody from the chest up. So that would be my sort of basic. It's like, make sure you've got your vest, make sure you've got whatever it is. It's a black skirt, it's a white shirt, it's a grey jersey, like basics, but then you know that you've got something to pop some color at.
I'm straight onto the Uniqlo website.
I love Uniqlo. They can sponsor us if they'd like.
If they want to. It's so interesting. I had a quick call with a contact, and I had a different jumper on, not without a high neck. Number one, I was cold, but it was also beige, and I was like, I feel too beige for the podcast I'm about to go into. And she said, you need one of the, a collar that you can get the varying collars to just pop onto the jumper, which would totally add a new layer. So I'm going to be hunting for some of those. My question is, I've got two actually. If there's somebody listening who is, desperate to support SmartWorks, either on the fashion and styling side or on the coaching side, and how do they get in touch? And I'm also intrigued for either side actually. Is it just women that you take on as volunteers, or are there men that support on either side too?
I'll answer your first question first, Dan. Please, pop onto the SmartWorks website. There is a volunteering. There's a head of volunteering. There is email information to engage with our volunteering program. So there's training, so that volunteers either in coaching or in dressing and styling or in both can be trained to become one of our volunteers. And I have to say that to me, SmartWorks volunteering is a wonderful, wonderful volunteering experience. You meet extraordinary people, clients and fellow volunteers. You get to work with the most incredible clothes, and it's a fantastic community. So I would highly recommend it, and I enjoy every single day that I dress. Our volunteers are women. Our volunteers are women. We serve every woman who identifies as a woman. And because of the diversity of our client group, we work extremely hard to make sure that everybody feels comfortable. So we have a lot of modest dressers, and therefore our volunteer base is, in terms of dressing, is all women. We have staff members, of course, who are men. But at the moment, just in terms of dressing and the intimacy of actually being in a space where you're taking off your clothes and changing into clothes, our dressers are women.
So I have one more slightly selfish question. Because during COVID, I, like many women, grew out my gray hair, right? So I was dyeing my hair since I was 18 years old, had brown hair, grew it all out in COVID. And I was told by so many people at the time, I think well-meaning people, many of them hairstylists, if you do that, it will age you. It will make you look a lot older. And I think it's turned me into a little bit of a kind of gray hair advocate, because actually I think that's not true. I think it's often just people's perceptions of women with gray hair. They associate gray hair with old age, but people don't necessarily look older when they have gray hair. And I guess my question is, what are some of the other potential misconceptions we have about fashion or about the way people look that you think are beginning to be challenged now in the workplace or beyond?
The truth is, Alice, is that a woman not having grey hair is all a cultural narrative that has been building for decades, right? And so is that right? Is that wrong? My answer is do what makes you feel good. I'm incredibly lucky. I have my hair colored at the John Frieda salons, and I couldn't do without it. It's kind of like who I am, but
Right.
I like it. I like going there. I love talking to the people that do my hair, that have taken care of me for years. It's a lovely moment in my year. It's kind of who I am. Having said that, we can think of many famous women who have white or grey hair that are ravishingly beautiful. So I suppose for me, it's all about individuality. It's all about feeling happy with who you are. I mean, you both know that. I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, when you just show up on the day and you just so got the wrong outfit?
Yeah.
Just
Oh, 100%. And you feel it all day from the minute, you know from the minute you pick up that hanger and you go, should I? And then you go with it, life, right? You sweep out the door, you go from the moment, then you're on the train, you're going in, and all day you're not right. And Alice and I actually had a photo shoot just before Christmas for the pod. We knew we needed some professional shots and all that, and it was so good and detailed. The briefing session, she was like, do not do anything drastic with your hair, don't do a new makeup style, don't buy something new that you've never worn before, like that briefing, because it will just come across so obviously through that camera that you are uncomfortable. People feel that they have to totally reimagine themselves because they're doing this thing, and I can imagine it's an event like an interview, like people are like, right, I'm going for a power bob and I'm going to cut all my hair off, and you walk in and you're like, I'm not myself. Don't do it. Feel as confident as you can, because nerves and adrenaline and all those things, they're just normal. Like, those are normal things. Like, it means you're passionate and you care about whatever it is you're about to walk into. So you're going to have to deal with that. So wear what makes you feel good, because you're going to be battling those elements anyway, right?
Yeah. And maybe try it on just at home before and have a go in it and see how you feel. 3 things. First of all, my eldest daughter, Valentina, is to be married this year. And she's getting married. It seems that people have 2 weddings nowadays. So her first wedding is in Maine, in America. And, I've worked in fashion for so many years. And what does the mother of the bride wear in Maine? I don't know. So literally, I've been like looking at, websites and portals and all of those things, like, what is that look? Because I've never done that look before, because I've never had a daughter be married. The second thing that I wanted to share with you is that we had a fundraising dinner in Scotland just over a year ago now, and I bought at a SmartWorks sale a beautiful dark blue velvet dress. And I thought, this is perfect. I have to speak. I've got to try and raise money. Anyway, I was with one of the Scottish trustees. We jumped into the taxi. And as I sat down in the taxi, the zip on the back of my dress just opened from the top to the bottom. So, clothes malfunction is, had I actually thought of trying that dress on properly, having a little go around in the house, that would have been a good idea. And also, lesson number 100, always take us something else just in case. And finally, which is a silly thing to say really, but these white glasses that I wear, first of all, I need urgently, both for short and long-term sight. But these white glasses have stood me in such good stead because people remember me. So I always say to people, like, if you have a thing that you wear that you really love and is very you, kind of sit with it, because having a signature look is quite powerful. I don't know if you can think off the top of your head of Susie Menkes, the world famous global fashion journalist. She has this quiff on the top of her head where she has this piece of hair which she literally wraps like that. It's actually quite a good with a grip here, and her profile is unlike any other profile you've ever seen. You can think of Anna Wintour as well.
Yeah, Anna Wintour's bob.
So I think it's something worth thinking about.
Oh, I've got a similar story because your story reminded me of the zip ripping. So I was early 20s. It was like my second role, and I was going down just after the August bank holiday. My boyfriend had broken up with me on the bank holiday Monday, and I was presenting with the sales director, but she was letting me lead for the first time. Now she was fabulous. She always had like. She just phenomenal style. She had like the hot pink mulberry, and she always wore an Yves Saint Laurent number 49, which was a neon, kind of like this neon pink lippy. So we flew down to Gatwick, and we presented to Superdrug. So again, my first time, but I'd been really upset because of the emotional turmoil of that weekend. And I ripped the back of my dress on the way down. It was like I had like a waist cinch, and I'd sat on it funny, and it ripped. Anyway, I had to go into this meeting and somehow string a sentence together. But before we went in, she slid me the lippy and was just like, here you go. Because I knew I'd always said, oh my God, that's such a powerful lippy. And I always admired her in the meetings. And she like slipped me the lippy.
She gave you her power, basically.
It was, I admired her and her style and her confidence and the boldness. Oh, it was, one of those moments I don't think I will ever forget.
But what she did for you there is probably very similar to what you guys do at SmartWorks, because you're essentially giving their power to those women and infusing those clothes with their confidence as well. So they carry that into the interview, which is amazing.
And giving them some things that like you can't control the uncontrollable, like the dress rip happened, the emotional turmoil happened before. But if you can walk in and front it with everything else that that you've got and not need to worry about, like your stuff, go do it. Here's your confidence. It's it's a true example of that.
On that, Dan, the kind of sisterhood there of a woman sharing her lipstick with you to kind of give you that little punch that you needed, that's what it's all about. And I think that we can help each other enormously. I always try to remember to tell people that I think they look wonderful. Because if it's happened to me, I feel so much better. Like, okay, well, maybe this is going to work today. Maybe this is going to be fine. So, yeah.
I'm going to message her. I haven't spoken to her a while because the week after, which is when I next saw her, she brought me a whole lippy and gifted it to me and said she smashed it, which is, and I remember the moment, and it was nearly 20 years ago.
Absolutely. And when clients call us and tell us that they've got the job, I mean, it's...
I can imagine the joy.
It's joyful. It's just joy. And actually, that's one thing about SmartWorks that, when you talk about values and you talk about a brand and you talk about positioning and how you show up, SmartWorks is a really, really positive, happy place to be. There's no kind of woe is me. There's like, we can do this. We're going to do this. And also, you're surrounded by beautiful clothes. Very often clients say to me, oh, do I have to pay? Do I have to give it back? It's like, no, this is just for you. This is just for you. Just go with it. So it's really very hugely uplifting. Very often volunteers say to me, I feel a little bit like guilty because when I leave SmartWorks, I always feel so fantastic compared to when I arrived. Yeah, it's a very important that emotion.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm going to take a page out of your book, Julietta, and tell you that you both look wonderful. You've both been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. It's been really great to have you. Is there we've talked about how people can find out more about SmartWorks. Is there anything else you want to tell us about how people can get in touch with you or anything else they might want to know about?
I would really encourage all of your listeners to also come to our sales. If they enjoy the beauty and the power of clothing, we have sales all over the country. There's one at the Truman Brewery, Somerset House. We have a big pop-up at Vista Village. And also, if they have beautiful clothes that they would like to donate to us, that's all a massively helpful thing to us. We always need handbags, and I kind of think that maybe some of us have one handbag in our cupboards that maybe we could live without. And could go to such good use. So please visit the website, follow us on Instagram. There are so many great stories of clients getting the job. And right back at you, Alice. I don't just like how you look, but I also adore your wallpaper behind you.
Thank you.
And anything that I can ever do to help women in this weird world of work, I'm here to support you in anything that I can do. And thank you so much for having me.